Hi guys, so assignment 1 was due on Wednesday night. So what I'm going to do today, this is Friday, I'm going through the questions to see which ones weren't done well, and I'll pick some of those questions and do a video and walk through about how the correct way to do the question is. So the first one I picked, now the assignments are set to scramble the questions, and some of the questions are set that the majority of the information will be the same, except some of the dollar amounts will change. That's something that we do with Connect so that every one of you don't get the same assignment with the exact same numbers and just copy from each other, which in the end is not going to benefit you when it comes time for exams and knowing how to do this stuff on your own. So that's something that won't be changed. You'll have the exact same question. It's just that, for example, for this question, a $9,300 loan might have changed to different amounts. So it's the same formula, it's the same way to work it out. It's just everyone won't get the same answers. So now I have all the assignments set that you have unlimited attempts. So if you go in, you don't like your mark, try it again. Try it again. The more you practice and get familiar with it and stuff, the better it'll be for you come exam times. And then after the assignment due date, it takes the highest mark. That's what I'll use that'll be moved over to your D2L marks. The highest one out of all your attempts. After the due date, the assignment will then allow you for study attempts. So you can still go in and look at the assignment and try it again, but those marks obviously won't be taken. So I'm going to walk through this question with the amounts that I have on my screen. So a $9,300 loan is to be repaid in 3 equal payments occurring 56, 180, and 300 days respectively after the date of the loan. Calculate the size of these payments if the interest rate on the loan is 7.25%. Use the loan date as the focal date. So, a couple things that I have mentioned in the past. The very first thing you want to do is draw a timeline. And I'm going to just switch over here. So that's the very first thing I did. A loan, you got a loan now for $9,300, and it's to be repaid in 3 payments, 56 days, 180 days, and 300 days. So from looking at this, and the rate, 7.25%. So visualizing this, I can now see the $9,300 is the present value. I need to calculate the value of a payment here, a payment here, and a payment here. That would, 3 of those together would equal the $9,300. So I'm looking at, this is my future values. So this future value, this future value, and this future value need to equal $9,300 now. So that's why the timelines become important. They kind of help you visualize and know, am I calculating a present value or a future value? But you receive the loan now, and the payments are in the future. So then basically, after drawing this, now I can see that I'm trying to calculate future values. So I can use the formula S over 1 plus RT. So this, and I'm going to use 1 for each of these payments. So now I can begin filling in my information. So the future value, we don't know yet. That's X. Over 1 plus R. R is the rate, and that's 7.25, so 7.25%. So 7.25% is 0.0725. And it's outstanding for, it's 56 days into the future, so 56 over 365 is the percentage of time that we're looking at here. And we just do that again for each one. So the rate is going to be the same. It's just the number of days into the future, 180 days, and here it's kind of jumbled, but that is 300 days out of 365. So from there, we're just doing the math. But another thing when it comes to the math is make use of your calculator as much as you can. Rounding was one of the issues that a lot of people had with the assignment. Now, I will tell you that the midterm is, actually I won't tell you. I'm going to do a separate video on midterm prep, so we'll leave that for now. I want you guys to know how to take advantage of your calculator to get the exact answer and to get rid of any of these rounding errors. Okay, so again, I'm using the BA2 Plus. So when I'm looking at this, how I'm going to enter this into my calculator is I'm going to start here and I'm going to say 56 divided by 365 equals. Now I have this full number. And my calculator is set to give me all the decimal places, so I have 9 decimal places showing. But even other than what's showing, the calculator has like infinite decimals there. It remembers that. So instead of writing down the 9 decimals or whatever or re-entering them, try to keep, if you use the store and recall function, it keeps the full number. But so right now, 56 divided by 365, that gets multiplied by this. So that's times 0.0725 equals, and now I know I'm adding 1 plus 1. So now I have this number, 1.01123, you know, it just keeps going. But instead of, I did write it down here because I wanted you guys to see the steps. But what I would do now is I would store that number in my memory. So this, just to make it easier, on your BA2 Plus, you have a store and a recall button. So on the left hand side, right above your clear, is RCL, that's recall, and STO is store. You can store a value in any of the number buttons. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can store 10 values. So right here, I would store this in number 1. So now that I have my answer displayed, I'm going to hit store 1. Now that value is there. Now, yeah, we'll move on. We'll go across. So now for the next one, so I can hit clear, and I can do this same thing right here. 180 divided by 365 times 0.0725 equals, okay, the plus 1 equals this number here. So this is the second one. So I'm going to hit store 2. And now I'm going to go over here and do 300 divided by 365 times 0.0725 plus 1 to get this value, and that's the third one, and I'm going to go store 3. So now we have these 3 bottom numbers stored. Now, in order to get this to be this number, because we want to bring the number here up above so we can, I guess this is, I'm getting more into the math side of things here. But if we assume this is 1x and you divide 1 divided by this, you'll bring, this allows you to have a number on top, not a denominator, but a numerator, and then you could add them together and we'll just keep going down. But to get to here, you're going to say 1 divided by this number. But we know we have this number stored in memory. So now all I have to do is say 1 divided by, and we know this one was stored in the first number, so recall 1 equals this number, the 0.98899. So again, I'm not losing any of my decimal places if I use my store and recall. So now this is my, for me, I'm going to say this is my new number 1. We stored this originally, and I don't want to confuse you guys with the math. I did this in one step, and then I'm going down here and doing the second step. Normally, if I was doing it, I would have done this to here, then I would have did this step immediately, 1 divided by that, and got to here right away. But I wanted to do it and break it out in steps for those of you who aren't strong on the math side. So 1 divided by this number here gives you this, and then your x is on top. So now I'm going to store that in number 1. So store 1, so that I have that full number. And again, here you're going to assume it's 1x over this. So now we're going to take 1 divided by this number. So this was stored in number 2. So if I say 1 divided by recall 2, and then this is the value that I get. So now I'm going to replace my number that I had stored in number 2 with the new number for number 2. So I'm going to say store 2, then clear that out. And then I'm going to go over here and do the last one. 1 divided by recall 3 equals, and I get my 0.943 blah 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 x. So then I'm going to say store 3. So originally I had these denominators stored in number 3. Now I have these values stored in numbers 1, 2, and 3. But now your x is on top. Well, your x was always on top, but now there's no denominator. Now we have full numbers. So now 9300 equals this x plus this x plus this x. So if we add these three numbers together, we get this. So now the easy way to do that is to say recall 1 plus recall 2 plus recall 3 equals, and again we get 2.89824. So again, I don't want to lose my number of decimal places, so I'm going to restore that one now. So I'm going to say, now you can store in any one. You could have done store 1, 2, 3. You could have stored it in 4, 5, 6. This one in 7. I'm just, for me, logically, looking at my formula as I'm writing it down, this would be 1, 2, 3. When I get here, I know this number is replacing these, so I still do it 1, 2, 3. This, you can store it wherever you want, but I don't need these other values anymore, so I'm just going to store it in number 1, for example. Now, in order to isolate your x, you have to divide this by this. So it's yeah, I did store that. Sorry, I'm looking at my calculator, thinking, did I store that before I cleared it or not? Oh, maybe I didn't. Nope. Okay, hold on now. I was telling you to store it, and I gotta go re-enter my number. Okay. So where did I leave off? So 9300 divided by recall 1, which would bring up your 2.898 blah 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 equals, and then you get your 3208, and here is where we're going to round. You only want to round your final answer because it's a dollar amount. So it's $3,208.84. So here's where the rounding occurs. We want to avoid rounding throughout the equation and just round at the end. So hopefully you won't be talking like I am when you're doing your formula, and you won't tell people to store it and then forget to hit the button. So like I said, from here it's finance. It's knowing the formula and what to fill in. From that point on, it's math. So it's math, and it's also making very good use of your calculator. And any calculator, I'm sure, has a store and recall function. I'm just showing you how to use the BA2+, but it's taking advantage of that and storing the number so we don't lose any of the decimal places. We have the 100% accurate number until we get to here. If you round before you get to here, then you're going to end up being off a little bit. And the answers are set on Connect to allow you to be off a couple of cents, but your rounding could cause you to be off more than that. All right, I'll be back shortly with another question.